Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another vinyl collection update video. This time I have about 7 records to talk about. Some of them are new releases for 2026. There's a secondhand pickup or two, and also I had an order in with a lot of reissues of albums, mainly from the 80s. So stay tuned, I think this one will be interesting. First off, it's an album released a month or two ago, and an album that took me by surprise. I didn't think I would be such a fan of a record by Meek. Meek is the guy you know from Big Thief. So he has put out 3 solo albums, I think. And I haven't paid too much attention to the first ones. I know a few tracks that seemed fine. And when I put this album on release day, I had a greater connection to his music. What a sweet and whimsical and nice and warm sounding folk record. Truly marvelous songwriting. He's a bit different than Adrienne in some ways. Adrienne, she can be very emotional and raw and draining in that regard. And Buck is more uplifting and wistful in some ways. And he seems like a very sweet person that comes across in his songwriting. So for me, this I get a better impression by listening to this on what he contributes to the Big Thief project. And I have to say that this album actually beat the latest Big Thief album, in my opinions. I've been more engaged with this record than the Big Thief record from last year. There's not only great folk songs, but you have nicely produced folk songs. A lot of textured things going on in the production. Interesting electronic layered guitars that repeats, reverse guitars perhaps. Things that just gives each song a little lift, and so there's a very nice production, but the songs as well, they stand on their own. Very soothing and relaxing album to listen to. So this has been on repeat, quite one of the highlights this year. So good on you, Meek. Next is perhaps my favorite album so far of the year. I would agree with Richard from Richard's Vinyl Tap House about that, and it's the record by the Twilight Sad that was released last Friday. It's called The Long Goodbye, concept album about the loss of the lead songwriter's mother. This was such a terrific release. I mean, the 3 singles that they had running up to this release got me into this band. Checking out all their albums now. I guess I've seen them opening up for The Cure at some point. They didn't make a big impression on me then. I think it had something to do with the big venue they played at, and I remember they ended this set with a very excellent cover that they have of Frightened Rabbit. Also Scottish, or was a Scottish artist. And the best way I can describe this band is if Frightened Rabbit had made an album together with Mogwai. I think it would sound a bit like this. Robert Smith is quoted as saying that this is his favorite band. He contributes to it a bit with some guitars and some textured guitars. I'm not quite sure about where he is adding his guitars, but anyway. Andy Sabers, producer of My Bloody Valentine, actually. He was involved with the latest My Bloody Valentine record. He's the producer here, and together with the band who's producing this. So it's a great sounding record. I'd say that they lean towards shoegaze, but it's not quite shoegaze. They're post-punk influenced. maybe a bit of chameleons. There's great synth work throughout, very striking and dramatic, and a sound that I've been craving after hearing this. So yeah, so far, album of the year, I think. And the side A is just incredible, but it holds my interest throughout the whole album. So be sure to check this one out. My next record is This Nation's Saving Grace by The Fall. This is my second The Fall album from the year I was born, 1985. This is just a standard version of that. I really wanted to see if I can get a hold of the very exclusive version that the Vinyl Policeman showed in a recent video. That was 50th anniversary of the label. And yeah, that would be too expensive for me to pick up as a casual listener with the imports and everything. So yeah, this was fine for me. There's always something nice to discover on a Fall record. I know a few songs from this album, but I have been saving the listening experience to the day I have the vinyl, and it didn't disappoint. I think I have a new Fall favorite song. It's called Barmy. The insane coolness of that track, the catchy riff that runs throughout the song. What an excellent song. Really the highlight for me on this record. You probably know the song Spoiled Victorian Child from this record. And the song Paintwork is quite the highlight. And the rest to me seemed decent, but I've listened to it twice so far, so I'm sure this will grow on me more, which is usually the case with the Fall. In the beginning, I gravitate towards a song or two or three, and then the rest of the album sneaks up on me after a while. So yeah, I guess this is considered as one of the biggest. I see it high up on people's list. Classic Fall, they say. Bricks, period. She contributed a lot on this, apparently. So very happy with it. Next up is also another 80s record. This time an American band, The Gun Club. I think it's my fourth Gun Club album in the collection. I'm lacking an important album called Lucky Jim, and there's an EP that I'm looking for, The Death Party, which is also very good. Mother Juno from 1987. Very consistent album, like a lot of the Gun Club albums are. This record brings back Kid Congo powers. So on this record you have excellent guitar work. It's a very driving guitar-based sound. And it was produced by Robin Guthrie of Cocteau Twins. I have something to say about that. So never been a big Cocteau Twins guy. And when I discovered the Gun Club around 10 years ago perhaps, I didn't know it was produced by that guy from Cocteau Twins. And my favorite song was The Breaking Hands. And this is the one song that really kind of sticks out on the album, that has the Robin Guthrie fingerprint on it and the Cocteau Twins vibe. And I have been thinking about this because I've also been thinking about Robin's work with Felt. If you know the big hit Primitive Painters by the Felt, you know that it has the Cocteau Twins sound. And I'm just curious, what would this song be without Robin's production? Does the Gun Club and Felt need Robin Guthrie's treatment? It's a bit strange for me that he wants to have his sound on other bands, but I guess the Cocteau Twins and he as a producer were very big at the time. Yeah, I'm not complaining, I'm just curious about these things. Other than that, you know, it starts with very high energetic punk-oriented songs. Bill Bailey. Yellow Eyes is a very swampy blues track. And my cousin my cousin Kim is a spectacular song. You can really hear Jeffrey Lee Spears on full force singing. Yeah, so a very consistent and cool Gun Club album. Yeah, one to check out if you don't know the band. You can start off with the first 4 albums, in my opinion. The one that people like the best is probably the debut. That's the roughest and punkiest one, but don't look past the albums that they did later. So, yep. Next up is another 80s classic album that the community, the vinyl community, know very well. But I was late in the game. This is the Soft Boys Underwater Moonlight. So I got this album finally after I know a few songs from it, and I thought I would save it to the day I actually have the album in my possession. And now I've been listening through this 3-4 times and been enjoying it so much. I got the 45th anniversary, which was a spectacular release. Very high quality stuff. Very nice looking blue vinyl. This has an excellent booklet with all the liner notes that you could ask for. A guy called David Frick and other people, and then by Robin Hitchcock himself. So the Soft Boys were fronted by Robin Hitchcock, and this guy he still holds up. I think I saw only a few days ago he released another solo career single. This has some very nice pictures, and I really liked the quotes. They call the Soft Boys psychedelia with flowers and something of Syd Barrett. That's a good description. And of course, Hitchcock, he can sound like Syd Barrett, he can sound like Lou Reed. He draws inspirations from them, and the Byrds, and the Beatles, and Beefheart, and Barrett, all the bees. And that's almost a direct quote from the liner notes, by the way. Yeah. So, very 60s inspired. The songwriting is very excellent and very varied. You get songs that kind of feel like krautrock songs. A lot of great harmonies. I mean, the opener track is probably one of the greatest. It's called I Wanna Destroy You, and they sing that line in a 3-voiced harmony, I believe, and it's the coolest thing ever. You have other songs like Positive Vibrations, a classic. I Got the Hots, a very seedy and cool track. Insanely Jealous, it's a good one. Underwater Moonlight, the title track, is also one of my favorites on this record. So yeah, I'm finally glad to have gotten into this album now. And I have to say that the release as well is such a great release, quality-wise, and it was not so expensive either. Yeah, it has somewhat of a, do you call this a Nobi strip? Yeah, so my last 2 records that I will talk about is something I picked up at the second-hand store. I was at the conference and I had some spare time, so I went over there. I've been going there quite some few times lately. I've been talking about that on the channel to see if I can still find something cheap, and I did. I found 2 Creation Records affiliated bands, and these are 2 bands that I wanted to familiarize myself with. So what I've been doing is that I'm reading in the Creation Records book, the classic book about Creation Records. And when there's a mention of a band or something I'm not familiar with, I check them out on YouTube while reading, and that's a hobby of mine. And then I learn something about the bands, and I check out the music, and yeah, I made a note of both these bands. First, there was The Loft that I learned about from this book. And The Loft is yeah, this is a continuation of The Loft. So Pete Astor, main guy from The Loft, he started this band, The Weather Prophets. This album is called Mayflower, and it's not released on Creation Records. They were on that label, and they tried on a bigger label, WEA, I believe. But on that label, this was not a big commercial success, so they went back to Creation Records. But yeah, on this one, they had another go on the very, very great song that they released on Creation with The Loft called Why Does the Rain? And I have to say, I do prefer the version by The Loft, which is a bit rougher around the edges, more lo-fi, and just grabs me more than this version, which is also fine, but it's very clean sounding. And I guess that's my critique, not a critique, but why I didn't connect as much with this album, even though I enjoyed it. But it's a very clean sounding record, clean guitars, jangle pop, but there's not a lot of jangle, but there's some great pop songs for sure. So Can't Keep My Mind Off You was a great one. She Comes From the Rain, sure. Why Does the Rain is always nice to listen to. And it ended with some very relaxing and nice songs that was, to me, a bit reminiscent of Lou Reed in maybe a ballad of his in the Velvet Underground. Closer track Sleep, an example. Yeah, but it's catchy and nice and melodic and yeah, decent record to check out. I will check out the next one they did after this to see how it went when they went back to Creation Records and what that did to their sound. But yeah, just a little bit polite for my taste, but enjoyable nonetheless. So the last one is the Jasmine Minks, another very green record. This one is called Another Age, and I do believe this is one of the most or best acclaimed album by the Jasmine Minks. This also draws a lot of influence from the 60s. There's an organ going through a lot of these tracks. I can probably hear some Rickenbackers and some jangle and some fuzz, and mixed with more popular production of the 80s than perhaps the Weather Prophets. So this has a lot of gated snare, and the vocals are more 80s to my in my opinion. And the vocals are a bit hit or miss for me, at least. There has some great songs on here. Summer Everywhere is probably my favorite. Cut Me Deep was good. And the two songs Time for You, especially that one actually, and Another Age was a pretty decent one. So I also found this to be an enjoyable record. But the songs, you don't get like the Soft Boys. They shoot off in different direction and have different types of songs. This is more consistent in that way. The production from song to song is very similar, with a repeating organ and the vibe of it and the way vocals sounded. Yeah, so all in all, I enjoyed it, but yeah, that's it. Do you have opinions on the Jasmine Minks or Weather Prophets or any of the other records I showed you? Please leave a comment, and that's it for now. My next video will probably be my Record Store Day pickups, but you never know. In any case, I see you the next time. Take care. Happy Easter.